Welcome to the Kitchen Couch, where we feed the soul one conversation at a time. I'm your host, Dav Lewis. And if you're a returning member, welcome back. And to the new guests, welcome. I'm grateful to have each of you. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. We're on all social media platforms, including YouTube and Spotify. So just type in Kitchen Couch and you'll find us there. I want to be mindful before I introduce our guest and we get into today's conversation about just the state of the country and where we are and the government shutdown and how that's impacting people's lives. I'd be remiss not to talk about that, and also the importance of community and co-op and making sure that we are taking care of each other in this time. And so if you're in Houston, this is just a list of places that have food distribution centers that are open. The YMCA is one of those places. Also, Catholic Charities is one of those places. There's a few food distribution of Houston. You can look that up, targethunger.org. So it's Target as in the store, hunger.org. You can find that as well. There's also Second Servings of Houston, Second Servings, Houston.org. You can also look that up. Bread of Life Ministries, which is downtown, they're always giving back, and there's food every weekend. And then the Houston Food Bank, and then there's a mobile pantry of Houston. So these are just some of the resources that are out there. But again, this is the time for us to be neighborly, to honor humanity and save ourselves. Like, we obviously know we can't wait on the government to do that. And so this is a really good time for us to just show up in solidarity for each other. But yeah, I wanted to make sure I shared that and not think about where we are as a country again. So welcome to the Kitchen Couch. We have our special guest here today, Linnell. She is a real estate agent, Lanell Johnson, by the way. But before we get into anything, I just wanted to just let the people know who you are to me, and you can share more if you want to. But she is a former board member of mine, now friend. I'm proud to say, and I say this about a lot of my friends, but she is one of my most favorite people on the planet,
Oh,
and just an all around just good human. And she is also and my real estate agent, one of the best in Houston. So I'm happy to have her here. Welcome.
thank you for having me. I
Welcome.
appreciate you saying all those kind of things.
Yeah.
And I didn't pay you, but no. But I feel the exact same way about you, as you know. So I think you're amazing. So
Thank you.
can't wait to see all the amazing things you
Thank you. Yeah, welcome. You're one of my first guests, actually.
do.
Is-
I feel so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. You're one of
I'm
my first guests.
excited. I
Yeah. You're one of
like
my
being the
first guests.
first.
Yeah, you're one of my first guests. So um just kind of you had an opportunity to taste the dish that we prepared today. Well, I prepared, yours truly. It is my take on jambalaya, which is jambalaya is specific to Creole culture, New Orleans. It's based out of New Orleans. It's a dish that's specific to that region, and it is New Orleans in general is a lot of flavor,
Yeah.
and I love Creole Cajun food, the seasonings, the spices. And so I did my own version of that today. It's all plant based, and I have my own special seasoning that I created on my own to, yeah. And I didn't make it too spicy. Like, I'm a spicy person. So I was like,
You open up my sinuses a little bit, though. Oops.
before I even, well, not even before, I should have asked Linnell before I even made the dish, like, what's her spice level? I
It's
asked her
regular.
as I was serving it to her. I was like, what's your spice level? She's like, ooh. I was like, ooh. But I was mindful. I didn't do too much, but it's relative. Like, people's sensitivity to spice is all different. But it's a dish that I make often. And what were your thoughts?
To be honest with you, I thought the dish was amazing. It was really great. It's like I eat rice every single day. Like if I don't eat rice, I don't feel like I ate. So, but I was surprised because even though it was a meat in there, the meat-like substance was, like, very fulfilling, so it was really good, and your spices was not too spicy, but right on point, so not too salty, but just right there in the good, perfect blend of flavors, but it was really good. Now that's a dish I know I can do.
Would you eat that again? Like, would you make it on your own?
Yeah, I'll make it on my own, but I have you make it, I'll drive out here and
I'm
sound like the way
charging.
you made it.
This was on the house. I'm charging extra.
Okay, I'll do all the ingredients, just need you to cook it.
So you would make it on your own?
I
Yeah.
would. No, no lie, it was good. It
Okay.
was really good. Mhm.
Okay. What's your typical like as far as food? Like, are you a foodie?
Oh, big foodie, like, everyone in my household I have 2 sons, everybody cook really, really, really well. We're huge cooks, and we use our stove every single day. It's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so we're huge cooks, so, yeah, I'm a f
Wow.
Mhm.
What's your go-to? Like, if you have to cook something, say for the whole family, and you've had a long day at work, and you need to whip up something really quick, what's your go-to?
Uh, we like a lot of steak, so
Okay. Okay.
I'm, like, more I can cook that
Long
pretty quickly.
podcast for
Yeah, but that's like a quick
I'm
to
messing
me,
with you.
or a little shrimp.
Okay.
We're real big, and we love chicken on this vegan spice. Talk about all the meats. So
Cut.
disrespectful.
Cut. No, never mind. Wrong guest.
Yeah, no.
First bite.
Sorry. Oh, the honest meat just gets me all the time. But anyway,
Okay, so you're a big meat eater.
to a degree, I
Okay.
do like my protein
Yeah.
and carbs.
Yeah.
I love balance. I love
Yeah.
it gotta be vegetables on a plate and a good carb, which is gonna be rice or potatoes
Yep.
and like a simple meat. So usually air fryer wings, potatoes, and salad. That is my go-to
Okay.
with a fruit salad on the side.
Yeah. I say that I'm joking about the food and the meat. The one of the things that I always talk about too is that a plant-based diet is not for everybody. It's not something that it's not even healthy for everybody. Even like the raw diets and stuff, just based on your blood type, your
Mhm.
DNA, your genetic makeup, there are certain animal proteins that you need based on your blood type. Some people can plant based and they're fine with it. It works really well for them. It's healthy. It's positive. One of the things you said was that everything in moderation and balance, and having the major food groups on your plate, like the protein,
Yeah.
the veggies, the starch, the carb, having a balance in that, which that's really what the goal is too. And
Yeah.
even for me, like I've discovered too, like in my journey of plant based, that there too are a lot of unhealthy options on the
Yeah.
plant based side.
Yeah,
Like there are
for
a lot
sure.
of things that are not healthy for you, that are overly processed. And so I also have to be mindful to eat that in moderation. Like there's the Beyond Meat and the Impossible Meat. There are all those things that are
Yeah.
they're they're made. They're,
Yeah.
even though they derive from plants and the ingredients in them are plant based, but they still are
Processed
these
and preserved and
processed.
some
Yeah.
yeah.
And so the more processed foods we eat, again, like I think I forgot what I was listening to the other day. Maybe Gary Zukov, but he was talking about um how what we eat impacts our like how we show up in the world, even from like a mental
I agree
and
with
a
that.
spiritual. The way we show up is based on the food and stuff we eat, and the closer you get to something being alive, you get higher vibrational food. Like plant-based food
Mhm.
is higher vibrational because it's alive. It's
Mhm.
it's plant-based. and even if you're eating it in a raw form,
Yeah.
you're eating it alive. It's a living thing, and so it just talks about eating higher vibrational foods, but not this is not a knock on meat or anything. I think you hit it right on the head. It's like balance for everything, which is life. So how do you find balance? Like, you're busy. You are a very busy woman. Like,
Mhm.
you are nonstop, and I'm glad to have you here, but I've seen you work. You've been busy, busy.
Yeah. I have this little day that's called Self Care Day Thursdays. Every Thursday, I everybody knows me. It's Thursday. They're doing their own thing. They're like, Linnell, it's Self Care Day Thursday. This is the day you always say, like, make this time just for you, whether it's shopping, taking a nap, reading a book, or getting your nails done, going to the doctor, all those things. So Thursdays is a day for me to kind of slow it down. Even if I do it for 1 hour or 2 hours, it makes me front and center for my mental health. Because sometimes, like you say, I know just a few weeks ago, I was working and didn't have a day off for like almost 8 weeks. So, and that includes my self care day Thursday too. And so I was like, okay, Linnell, you have to remember to check in. So I don't know, for me, my Thursdays, if no other day, Thursdays, and I try to do Sundays or even a half a day Sunday, is to just remember just to check in on my mental health. How am I doing?
I love that. I love it. And you talked about spa, reading. Like, what do you do in the morning? Like, what's the first thing you do when you wake up?
Um, uh, before I when I open up my eyes, I'm talking to the Lord, and
Okay.
that's real talk.
Yep.
So I try not to look at my phone. So it varies. If I'm like crazy busy, sometimes I'm up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I'll go back to sleep for maybe an hour and then wake back up. It just depends on like if I got a ton of desk work to do. So the first thing I usually always do is just try not to look at my phone for at least a good hour. Try to, doesn't always work that way, but I always try to like spend time with God to where it's just like, okay, like you created me, Lord, today is a day that you made. I don't know what all this day entails. So like, unless you give me what it is that I'm going to do, because I also want to keep like my attitude and my mental health in check too.
Hmm.
So that is like a self check for me because I also want to show up for my clients in the best way. So I want to show up for myself the best way because if I'm not well, then I'm not going to serve people well. And so that's the first thing I kind of do is just kind of spend time with God. I get my coffee, kind of, and then I start looking at my phone.
Mm.
Sometimes it's like light reading or read my word or something positive, and I'll write in my gratitude journal like 3 things that I am most grateful for, right? And I'll usually do like a Pinterest, like something positive vibes, and I always post that every single morning, like something positive. If God gave me something, then it'll come strictly from God, and I post that every single morning. So everybody always sees that. It's like I'm gonna start my day with something positive, and gratitude
Yep.
has served me really well.
I love that.
Mhm.
Um, and that's we have a lot of stuff in common. You and I have talked about that too. And I don't even know if I'll share this with you, but I do that every morning as well. Same exact routine, almost to the T. It's like before I get
Really?
out of bed, like I do. I say like 5 things that you do 3. It's like 5 things that I'm grateful for before I
Mm,
even open my eyes. Like, I don't even open my eyes, and I do. And same thing with you. I set my intentions for the day, and I also want to lead in a positive way. Like, no matter what I'm doing that day, like setting my intentions to do that, that's equipping ourselves to go out to the world.
I
That's
agree.
that's setting ourselves up to go out into the world and call and acknowledging to God that, you know, I'm present,
Mhm,
and also I need you. I
mhm.
need your guidance as I
Yes.
go through this day, and acknowledging. I think being gratitude to me is probably one of the most powerful expressions.
Mhm, mhm. I think it attracts. I don't think, I know without a shadow of a doubt, because you think about it like it's like light. If you're in darkness, people typically don't wanna be around someone who has a spirit of heaviness. And you think about somebody who's, like, always positive, they always wanna attract to you because you're gonna go naturally where the light is.
Yeah.
So I've learned, like, when you kinda stay in that vibration, like that higher frequency of, like, just staying positive because we don't get a lot of that. Let's be honest, like in a world that sometimes it can be like very dark. You don't always get the light. And I think that's why so many people are drawn to like all the funny, like they scrolling through their phones and they're stopping at stuff that are super funny. But why those have the highest ratings of clicks? Because people are looking to laugh
Mhm.
and people are looking at, for positive affirmations and things that are happening in people's life in spite of like people are negative, but the root of people, a lot of people are great and it's good. And that's why I realized like, oh, okay. So if people are clicking on the things that make them laugh and make them smile, then people are wanting more of happiness in the
Mhm.
world. So I always believe like we don't look for the world to always change how you think. Be one person because one person, if you know 200 people or 100 people, then it becomes like thousands of people because they begin to attract your energy. So one person can change your whole community, in
Mhm.
my opinion.
Yeah. I love that. I believe that too. I think
Mhm.
that, you sort of what you focus on is what you become.
Mm,
Like, what you like, if you're focusing on positive, that's what shows up in your life.
yeah.
And being a light, like, you're a light, just a light worker. Like, there's some of us are sent here to be light. That's your job.
Yeah.
And that's your job is to be light in all these things that are here, which again, I don't know if you ever feel lonely sometimes.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel all the emotions. I have a husband who travel about 70% of the time. So yeah, I feel all the things.
Yeah.
God give
Um,
us all those emotions.
yep. Yep. Um, and you talked about like just the scrolling through Instagram and all the positive things. Like, why do you think you're so positive? Like, why do you think you show up with gratitude? Why do you think you show up in a space of joy, like in wanting to give that to people?
I I mean, I think a part of that was like how I was initially like my natural personality. That's the root of I believe that's just who I am as a little girl. I've always been like super happy and people love to hang around me. But I believe though some traits you just born with. So that's a thing too. But I also didn't grow up in a very healthy household too. And I remember how that used to make me feel. And so I was like, you know what? I don't necessarily I can't control how what I was born into, but I can control as an adult how I want my life to be. And so I just realized like out of all the darkness of growing up in a very abusive family, I know growing up that's not what I wanted for myself.
Hmm.
And so I think I was very intentional about it. So again, it's like who are you touching in the world? I believe, not believe, we have one life. And I'm always saying, like, if I die today or tomorrow, who life did I impact? I wake up every day intentionally saying that. If I die today or tomorrow, if anybody come to my funeral, will they say, "I remember Linnell because I remember how she made me feel," or, "I was having a bad day and she talked to me and, like, she talked me down." Whether it's spirit of suicide, I talk to all different type of people because I'm always checking in on my people. I don't just do real estate for a sale, but I really genuinely care about how people are doing. And so I care about, like, how I show up for them, because at the end of the day, people showed up for me to help me get to this place too. So you know, again, it's like, you died a day or more. What did you do
Hmm.
to make the world just a little bit better that
Yeah,
you could control?
I love that.
So,
Um, you talked about like some of the trauma that you had growing up and how you knew that this is not going to be my life. Like, what do you remember your age that you decided that? And do you remember like at what age you noticed it?
5.
Wow.
Yeah. I it was just like a lot of violence. Like I didn't feel safe as a little girl because it was my dad was very violent. My mom dated a lot of guys who were very violent. And I remember as young as being 5 years old, just being in the closet, like, when my dad was beating on my mom and watching them through the corner and a crack through the door and just feeling that locked up feeling of like, "God, this is" like, that fear, like, your kids should never have to feel that, and so and I remember as 5, I was like, "I am never gonna let a guy ever do that to me," because I was so traumatized as a little girl to where it was like you hear gunshots while you sleeping. You didn't know who was gonna bust in your house. It was just always violence around you. So it's just like I never felt safe as a little girl. And when I had my kids, that's one of the things that I said. But in hindsight, it was a blessing because it caused me to be who I am, but it also caused me to raise my children different.
Mhm.
Just being out of that environment, being in that environment, but also being like, okay, I can change that as a child. However, I can change that as an adult. So, our youngest son say all the time, and people always, because he's so popular around so many people, they ask him all the time, like, how you get to be so popular? Like how you get to be so cool? Like we love you or whatever. And he'd be like, my mom and dad. But we were so intentional because my husband came out of a violent background and I came out of mine was more violent than his was, but we said we weren't gonna raise our kids like in that type of
Yeah.
environment.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I know those things are tough to share and even experience. Like I have that's what I'm saying. You and I have we in alignment with a lot of things on this planet and similar experiences. I had same, very similar. Um, Growing up, abuse and violence and all those things, and it affected me in so many ways.
Yeah.
It affected me in ways I didn't even
Mhm.
recognize, and
Even as an adult, that's the
mhm,
thing you typically don't get, but you went through that as a kid. No, those traumas stay trapped in you as an adult because you don't know how to work out those things as a kid. You don't know what traumatized you
yeah,
as a child. So it shows up in a way in how we move, the lack of growth, how we perceive success, how we get success, and how we get back at people. I'm gonna get my lick back and not letting go and allowing people to come in to hurt us in a way. It shows up in so many ways
yeah,
we can't even count it.
yeah, yeah. And you mentioned your husband coming from a similar background, and how long y'all been married?
This April will be 30 years and been together 34 years.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. Congrats. I know
Thank
that
you.
wasn't easy, or isn't easy, to do that, but that's amazing. Congrats. That's not the norm, in our community.
Mm,
It used to be, but that's not the norm. So congrats on that. I know that wasn't easy. And even you guys both having similar, past and all that stuff, was that did that bring you guys closer or did it make it do you feel like it made it more difficult in the marriage because you guys are coming from similar pasts that both
mhm.
had abuse in it,
Yeah.
maybe in a different way, but
That's a good question. I love that question because trauma shows up is however it's going to show up because we got married so young. I mean, it showed up throughout the marriage. I think all those trauma issues made our marriage very difficult because we had to work that stuff out in the marriage because we didn't have marriage growing up around us. We didn't have a lot of, marriage figures we can go to and just kind of talk about our
yeah.
marriage. We just didn't have that. So a lot of the things that we built on our own. So how you gonna build a lot of things when you don't have a template? You're doing a lot of things based on how you think it should be done.
Mhm.
But I think we were very intentional about our kids because I think we were so traumatized as kids. We went in with like we're not going to do that with our kids, but we didn't have a blueprint for our marriage. And that's the thing that we look at now. And we're in counseling. We believe in counseling because we realize like we kind of messed up.
Yeah.
So we messed up in a marriage. But I think having the Lord, knowing we both knew the Lord and grew up in church. So I think that was very helpful for us to stay together because I think it's nobody's hand but the Lord that kept us together. Let's just be honest about that. But, I think God just said, "I see a purpose and it's not y'all outside of yourselves, but y'all gonna come together to heal one another." And so that's kinda like we did a lot of prep work later because we had to raise kids, and then once the kids are grown, our kids are grown now, it's just like when you left at home together, where it make you focus on, like, "These kids are gone now, let's oh, we really got some issues." We can't hide behind these kids anymore. Not that you're hiding behind the kids, but you're just doing the everyday life of just trying to raise them. And
Yeah.
then, finances plays a role in it. You're just trying to work and, get through life. So you don't really know what
Yeah.
traumas you have until them kids leave and you're like, oh, we got some real issues. We might need to get into counseling or we're not gonna make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And so what I appreciate you sharing that too, because I think that's just necessary just for people in general to hear that.
mhm.
Um, and then just because you guys decided to seek counseling therapy after your kids were gone, right? Is that what you?
Well, we kind of did it while the kids were there too, but trying to find the right counselor is very hard because you got to find a counselors that align with your goals and your spiritual goals. And then you try family, and they just like they ain't got their stuff together either. So that's not really counseling, right? And then you go into counseling, but you get offended with what's said, so you stop going. So, and then you're like, okay, I gotta find this still the counselor is still not challenging us in the right way, right? So you just kind of be like, okay, well, we could just kind of figure it out or we just pray about it and then the Lord will just magically make stuff disappear. But that's not how real work works.
Hmm.
Like you have to really keep in mind because we were so young when we did get married. We were married like in our 20s and our 30s. So we just did a lot of stuff we just did not know. So it was a lack of maturity, a lack of accountability and always blaming the other person rather than you take accountability. And so you go through this cycle in this phase and you like, wow, like you finger point for so long to where it's like until you change this and until you realize like, oh, I can't change you. I'm getting disappointed because you're not changing the way, or you change temporarily based on what I say you should do, but that doesn't stick. So real change comes from like you changing you,
Hmm.
and you have to allow the other person to change themselves.
Yeah.
And so, and with the help of God, but you got to do the work. Because sometimes I think as Christians, we think we could just pray everything away.
Sure.
Because some things we're taught that just pray about it. And you grew up in the black church, and sometimes the black church don't believe in counseling. But I'm an advocate for counseling. I'm an advocate for if you need mental stuff to help you with your mind, medicine, and all that. I believe Jesus have called doctors to be here to help us.
Sure.
He has called counselors to help. So if you need to get the help, I am an advocate, but I didn't always believe that because I grew up in a church that did not teach that.
Hmm.
And so my husband and I both was like, wow, a lot of things we learned in church was not necessarily correct.
Yep.
And so you have to do the work.
Yep.
And then with God, he helps you along. But no, God don't you can't pray your problems away and it just goes away.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love that. I always say you either want to be right or you want to be in relationship.
Mhm.
And that's
Mhm.
with anybody, like whether it's a friendship,
I
but
love that, yeah.
especially like like a marriage. I've never been
Mhm.
married, but I've been in committed relationships, and one of the biggest things is learning things about yourself in that relationship that it's hard for you to see or accept because it's coming from somebody
Mhm.
that you feel judged by, but it's
Yeah.
also the truth. So it's hard to receive it
Mhm.
because it's coming from somebody that you also see their flaws too.
Yeah.
And so it becomes this tennis match of
Mhm.
flaws and
Mhm.
this just this Olympic competition of like who has the most and who can point out the most, and
It's
because of
keeping
that
score, who
and
got the higher score.
justification and making all these excuses as to why you don't feel like you need to do
The
the
work.
work or the
Mhm.
change. And people always use the term the work all the time. It is very, very hard, but very important to
Absolutely.
take time to understand who you are.
Mhm.
that's probably the biggest gift to to yourself is to figure out who
Mhm.
you are.
Absolutely.
And I think I always say this too, like even from like a child, like I think that's the first thing we should start talking about with our kids, and especially in like education, like kids understanding who they are.
Yeah.
Like why, like who are you? You know, and that changes often, but that at
Yeah.
the core is the core. You always come back home. That's home for
Mhm.
you. But who are you? That's one of the things that I always ask people, like when I'm taught, like, who are you? And
Yeah.
sometimes we don't think about it. And sometimes we're afraid to think about it
Mhm.
because there are probably things that you don't want to accept, you know,
Mhm.
and you're all of you.
Mm.
And so I think that that's just really important. Like when you talk about therapy, I'm a huge advocate of therapy. I started like 29, somewhere there,
Mhm.
going just because I want to know what I don't know. Like what are the gaps in, man,
Yeah.
the hardest but most impactful decision I made as an adult was actually going to therapy and
Giving
it,
yourself the gift of
yeah,
therapy.
there
You
we go.
you know, the thing when I went to that found the right therapist, like, some years ago, and I was just talking about all the things that, like, happened to me, and he was looking at me like he was like, "Wait a minute, Linnell, we need to, like, go all the way back. You said all that stuff like that was normal." But I was like, but that was my normal. He was like, "That's a lot of to unpack." Like all that stuff was never supposed to have happened to you as a kid. But I was just spewing it out like that was normal. He was just like, "No, we need to unpack all that." But that was my normal. But he had to be like, "No, you never was supposed to have gone through that. You never was supposed to have gone through that. No, no, no." But and then you realize like, wow, I made it through all that stuff. I made it through a lot of times we make it through life, but we're bleeding.
Yeah, like and you think because you made it to that point that you're
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah,
And you think that because you're successful, whatever those things are, that you're
right.
okay. Or you think because you have your spouse and your kids and all these things that
Mhm.
you're okay. One of the biggest things that I identified when I went to therapy was that I had normalized trauma
Mhm.
and I didn't realize it. I also lived in shame about
Yeah,
it. Like I didn't want people to know that those things had happened to me or my family.
right.
I don't know. I just I didn't even really see the need to talk about it, but I also knew a lot of that was wrapped in shame. It was something that I also wasn't. I grew up in a place too where things will happen and you just sweep it under the
Yeah.
carpet and you keep moving like as
Mhm.
if nothing happened. And there were a lot of major incidents and stuff that happened in my family, and we never really talked about it. And so my documentary Second Chances highlighted like one of the major like life changing events for my nucleus, like my mom, my brother, my sister, and I. It changed in addition to all the other trauma and stuff that we saw as kids, and my mom with very similar like abusive relationships, just all these things. And then there was a death that happened. There was just all these things that happened that I learned to just hold my head up high
Mhm.
and move on, survive,
Yeah.
and just go. And I did that for a long time, and it helped I will say me, it helped me to a certain extent. It built this thing in me that was unbreakable, but it also hindered me in ways that I still have work to do today, especially vulnerability.
Yeah.
Even when I was acting and stuff, I had an acting coach, and the hardest thing for me to do was cry. And, you know, you got scenes and just depending on what the scene is and what the character is, when you're getting into character, like you have to be in character, become that
Yeah.
character. And there was this block in me every time it got to being vulnerable in all this stuff in my acting coach pulled me to the side and I'll never forget this. Like this was one of the major turning points for me in my life. It was in an acting class, which out of all the things, but he was like, dude, come here. Like, what's up? He's like, you're blocked. And I was like, what do you mean? Because we block scenes and
Yeah.
you block scenes in acting. Like you rehearse them, you're blocking. He was like, you're blocked. And I'm like, and he was like, in here. And I was like, you're right. It's like you're and that was it. Like I started looking, and that was my journey from there. And like you have to shop around for therapists.
Mhm.
Um, and there's this notion too, and I don't believe this, but people believe that you have to go to a black therapist because you're a black person and they understand your I don't believe that. My biggest breakthroughs came with a white woman,
Yeah.
this middle-aged white woman. She was very good at her job, and she was very good at just really helping me navigate my trauma and getting down through there, and just books she recommended, exercises,
Absolutely.
all these things that she did, like, she really
Mhm.
did a really good job, and I've had both. I've got a black therapist now, but you need somebody that's going to meet you where you are
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that understands where you are in your journey at that time and not somebody just because they're black. Like
Mhm.
I don't I think there's a time and space for that. And if you're going there for a specific issue, but if you're just going to a therapist, you need to go to somebody that you're comfortable with,
Agree.
somebody that you trust, because again, you can go in there and not feel safe enough or comfortable enough to be honest. So it's a waste of time.
Yeah,
So you won't see the value in it,
I agree. I agree.
you know?
I know our now therapist, and she's a Caucasian lady. And I
Right.
was we first met, I said to myself, "Lord, I don't really know if this woman gonna work out for us," because she was like kind of like real nice to a degree. And then she said something that was just like, "You just have to just let go like the Psalms of 23 as he lay me down in the green pastures." And sometimes you just have to let it go. And I was thinking in my mind, I was like, Lord, I don't think she is going to be the right therapist. However, I am going to be open minded. How about that lady is making some changes in the pastures and just have to let it go? Because I was just like, I'm pretty aggressive. My husband can kind of get aggressive. I don't think this little white lady right for us. But needless to say, she has been hanging on in there. And she was like, whoa, 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 let me just stop you right there. Eugene, Linnell was speaking. What did you hear her say when she said, and then my husband tried to say something. They said, no, no, no. When she was saying this, remember we have to use our words. When when she said such and such, how did that make you feel? I was like, okay, I think I didn't really know if this was going to work out. So I said all that to say, yeah, sometimes we can get so locked in our heads, like, oh, it has to be of the same race.
Mhm.
No, it doesn't have. Help comes however help needs to come. And if that's fitting for you, do not be ashamed. Take the help, pray about it, and make sure if a different race is changing your life, hallelujah, that's where your help needs
Yeah.
to stay.
Yep. I agree. I think in life, like we don't always realize that everybody that we cross paths with, it's necessary.
Hmm.
Even the good, the bad, it's necessary.
Yeah,
Like those things don't cross your path if they're not for you. It's
absolutely.
all they cross for a reason. We make choices to engage and to
Mm,
do certain things because that's part of our journey and we need it. Like you,
absolutely.
it's a constant, like this is the earth school. Like this is where our souls come to whatever promise, purpose we need to fulfill. Like we come down here for that. That's really what this is. Like this is a forever learning.
Mm,
They call it the Earth School, in a lot of like the books and stuff I read, where you come here, your soul comes here, you're in a body, and whatever your purpose is, that's what your job is on the earth to continue to do that, good, bad. So every body that crosses your path is necessary. They,
yeah. I've never heard of the Earth before.
yeah,
Learn something new every day.
yeah, because they call it the Earth School because all you're doing is learning. That's it.
Mm,
You never stop learning on this planet.
mhm. That's true.
So if when you're done learning, you leave.
Mhm.
You're gone. Your time is up. You go. You die. Whatever you need to do. But you're always learning. Like think about um how you love and how you like today, or like even when you had kids. Like I'm sure your
Mhm.
love changed.
It's a different kind of love. More of a protection now.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know. But you're continuing to like evolve, and
Mhm. Mhm.
your heart is expanding, and you're learning more and more about yourself. No
Yeah.
matter what age, you still got work to do.
I agree. And I think that's why if I feel stagnant, if I feel like I get anxiety. That's when I get anxiety when I feel like nothing's moving, or if I look at my relationship or in my business, if I feel like I haven't had any growth, that gives me anxiety because I feel like I always say all the time, sitting water stinks. 'Cause it will just collect bacteria, right? Like, you can't
I've
just
never heard of that.
yeah.
It's
Move
one of my old country country singing.
Tell what you want. Water needs to constantly be in movement. None of us is called to be stale. We gotta keep it moving. So, anyway, I know I feel most alive when I look at, like, my life or anything, like, I look at it and just like, there's no movement. I get, like, anxious, "Mm, why are we still here?" Like, I'll get frustrated, why why is my like, "What you mean I haven't sold anything, like, in a month or 2?" Like, no. Then I start checking myself, like, making sure because I don't like stuff to stay stagnant because there's a limited amount of time that we have here because, the word says we're it's just a mist. We're here like just a mist, which is like a vapor, but it seems like long time to us because being, with our natural minds, but we're spiritual. We're really not here long. And so I always say every day, like, I have to be moving towards my greater purpose.
Yep.
Because I also think that purposes and things change in different seasons, like based on where you are in the season. So I don't know. I have to keep moving towards the greater purpose of where I'm at in that season.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of people feel that anxiety or that like not feeling if they feel like they hit a rough spot or they stale, they feel that anxiety because I think we're not supposed to stay there. I think we're supposed to feel that uncomfortability
Mhm.
to keep moving and challenging ourselves, as you say in the earth school.
Yep. And what that is too is that your your guardian and your guides have kind of wandered off for a while. So you're not feeling that,
Hmm.
but you just stay the course,
Yeah.
and then they'll come back.
Yeah.
Your motivation, the energy that you need, it all comes back. But your guardian angels, your guides, they kind of wander off, and then they come back,
Hmm.
and then you restart whatever it is that you need to. Not even restart. Your motivation, all that stuff is there. Like I felt that for even with this. Like I was like, when we were working on just a lot of the stuff in the background with the podcast, the logo, all this stuff. Um, I was talking to my friend Cole, and we were just we bounce ideas and stuff off each other. She's an artist and very creative and really good at a lot of. You met Cole and Mendez, California. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah, some amazing friends, by the way, too.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you. I do. I do.
Yeah.
I won't even say that lightly. I do. I'm blessed. Um, and I was telling her, I'm like, dude, I'm not motivated to do this. And she's like, dude, just stay the course. Like, go. Like
Yeah.
this time, like, just keep going. It'll come. And for sure, it did. Like, it just as
Mhm.
I continued to do it. And one of the things I realized too, I don't know if you, are like this too. I get anxiety when, um, it's something new and I'm putting something out there for people to consume or for people to see.
Yeah.
I get a lot of anxiety about it.
Mhm.
And this is one of those things, like, I sometimes imposter syndrome shows up. And I also, again, my struggle with being vulnerable in front of everybody is a challenge for me. And also, I'm still, I still agree with this. Like, I don't think everybody needs to know everything about you.
Yeah.
I just don't. Like, that's just not something I will ever be.
Yeah.
I won't. I mean, I don't. I want some stuff for myself,
Mhm.
and not even when I say for myself, I mean like
Yeah. Yeah.
my nucleus.
Yeah.
There's things that you have to protect. Like, we live in a world that people don't respect
Boundaries.
boundaries. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. But I would also say too, what I don't like to use the word like perfectionist, but I also realize with you, Dave, too, because you and I think along the same lines about you like for a lot of things to you have a spirit of excellence. Let me say that because, but that in a world that we're great customer service, spirit of excellence in doing things to the greatest level that it can be done, we're losing that.
sure.
And that is one of the things we talk about, like our biggest frustration that we have. And I think that's a huge part of you too. Like, I know you want to make sure like everything is like done right. Things are like very polished and you just not going to throw anything together. So I think that can be a little bit of your anxiety that comes from that too, because I know I'm that way too. So I know with me starting my own business, it was like hard for me to like lunch out like on my own because it's like now I don't have anybody to lean on now. This is like my own company, my own business. And so everything I have to think about to make sure like everything is right because you don't want to like fail and
Yeah,
it's like, oh, I knew you was going to go out there and bump your head and you was going to come back. And
yeah.
so I have that thing to where it's like, because you were actually my first client who I sold. Thank you very much. So under LMJ's property, so you were my very, very first client.
Yeah.
That you asked me to sell your house, and I was just like, ah, you have like such a really nice house at a very high price point. And I was like, Lord, I want to make sure I sell this house like really well. I want to do like a great job. So I will get up like super early and and make sure the open house is like great. And I was just like, Lord, I cannot like fail and like, because I don't know, Dave is gonna be like watching me too, and like, I want to make sure Linnell gonna do it. Like you critique, like you don't realize it though, but you be critiquing everything. But I was okay with it because I believe at the end of the day, it makes you stronger and like, you up your game though. But I was like, God, that Dave be watching everything. It's just like from the doorbell when you're walking in, like make sure you put them little booties on. Everybody put them booties on when they come in my house. It's just, Linnell, you make sure you got that. I was like, yep. That photographer came to. He was like, I am not happy with that photographer. Let me make sure you get some. That's like, let me have him come back out there and take those pictures. He was like, I just want to make sure all the points got good. I was like, I got to make sure all my I's are dotted and all my T's is crossed because Dave is going to be checking you. But I love that though, because I believe that you put a lot of money and a lot of effort and a lot of heart into your home. So you want to make sure all those things were showcased. And I want to make sure that it didn't stay on the market very long and it sold really well and you was pleased with all of the marketing and all the things too. So that brought some anxiety to me too, but in a good way
Yeah.
though. In a good way though. So because we talk about that again about having a spirit of excellence and not just throw anything together. So
Yeah.
I think when you have that mindset, I think you're going to have a bit of anxiety, but I think that could be a good thing, but in everything in balance.
Yeah.
If you get out of balance and you losing sleep and stressing people out,
Yeah.
I think now you're out of balance. And that's when you have to kind of check and say, okay, maybe I'm doing too much.
Yeah.
How do I reel that in, but still let people know like I ain't playing, like, I'm paying you to do an excellent job. But at the same time, it's like how much of my anxiety am I pushing onto
Yep.
them and then try to balance that out.
Yep. Yeah, she's 100% right, with me. And it's something that I've always I don't even say I've always had to work on because I think for me, um, I always feel like sometimes you only get one shot to do stuff,
Mhm.
and that's not always true. In life, like you get do overs all the time in life, and nothing's perfect, but it
Mhm.
is perfect
Mhm.
because it's all necessary and it's all in alignment. But I do also like I'm a visual person. I'm a person that
You see it in your head first.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I
before
can.
you see it. It's just like, I don't know exactly what I'm looking for, but I know what I'm looking for, but I know when I see it.
Yes,
But I also know when I see it and it
it
ain't
ain't it.
right.
And again, like Linnell is again, like just from a human perspective, like she's very good with any kind of person, all kind of people. And when we were selling the house, um, the market is what it is. It does what it does, like in real estate. And there's no good time to sell or buy. It is what it is. Just based on the interest rates, all those things. But people buying houses, selling houses every day, every second. And so um my when Linnell was really good at like just her follow-up is amazing. Like if you're uh a high strong client like me, and somebody that I do believe in like excellence, and I do believe in like giving people your best. Like I didn't believe in putting a house on the market and the house was not in like the best condition that it could be. Like
Oh, yeah, your house was amazing. It was so ready.
but I again, like we asked for a lot of money in
Mm.
this market. We put a lot of money into it, and those are the things that and then I appreciate you just being open to the feedback and us having to do a couple of things over. But it worked out the way it should have because again, like it was one of those things where I'm like, yo, people gonna come if we get the visuals right, we get the
Yeah.
pictures, the video, and Linnell killed it. Like literally, that video, I showed that video to so many people. Linnell has a big personality. You guys can already tell and see. And people, I always say people buy people.
Mm.
It's not the product. Like if
That's true.
it's the person. So let's say if you're in a customer facing role like you, people want to do business and buy people, and you're a person that people just buy, and Linnell's really good with like managing high stress situations but Linnell also works in a space of excellence and wants to do business with people that are have the same mindset. Like
Mhm.
we've been working on this project. Oh crap. We've been working on this project, trying to get some stuff done, post and pre and post video of the house. And it's been a nightmare trying to get the right person. But Linnell's like, I finally was like, Linnell, I'm gonna do it. Don't even worry about it. Cause I'm stressing Linnell out because everybody that comes and they're not they're just not giving me what I want. And
I
so
was
I'm
so
not
angry.
happy.
I was just like, why can't people just why can't people just follow up and call people back? Why is excellent customer service is so hard? Like I'm gonna pay you like good money. Like why can't you just follow up? That is I have a thing to where I always say, always do what you say you're gonna do.
Yep.
Always do what you say you're gonna do. If you say you're gonna call people back at 3 o'clock, call people back at 3 o'clock. If you say you're gonna call them back the next day, call them back with the next. But even if you forget, the minute you forget, call them back
Yep.
immediately and just say, because life be lifing,
Yep.
right? But set reminders. But I always think like, why can't people just rise to the occasion and just give, even if you're not excellent, can you be great? I always just think like, just have that mindset. Like, if you're in business, do you know how many referrals that you can get just by showing up and follow up? Like that one person is going to ask you about the video and say, wow, I love that amazing video. Especially, an agent who runs their mouth like me. I talk to everybody and they'd be like, oh yeah, this photographer is amazing. So, that I never fully understood.
Yep. Yep. I think that's the world we live in now. Like, I think you can get
Mhm.
away with doing the bare minimum.
Mhm. Very mediocre,
Yeah, you
and I
can.
don't like mediocre.
Yeah, it's a lot of that because you don't have to. People want fast.
Mhm.
People typically today, it's very like, oh, if it's quick, I'm fine with it. It doesn't have to be great. Doesn't have to be
Yeah.
amazing. But is it if it's quick, like, get it to me now, and
I know what your with your pictures with the photographer, he was like, "Yeah, no, I mean, just no, I still don't like this photo, whatever." We had to change it a few times. Like, I never got offended. That to me at the end of the day, if you have someone who's paying their money, why would I get upset because you're telling me you
sure,
didn't like this what the photographer did? Why would I take that personal? Like the photographer, if he didn't do the greatest job or he didn't capture your vision the way that you want it, who are we to get upset when a client is paying
yeah,
you? Figure out what it is, because at the end of the day, it's like, what is about your insecurity that you took that personal? Because that's something within yourself that you have to fix when you're in business. You can't take that personal. So, like I told the photographer, I was like, no, we're going to capture his vision. Like, whatever his vision is, if that's what he wants, that's what we're going to do. And I'm like, at the end of the day, if you can't capture it, there's 1,000 other photographers
yeah,
that can capture it. So I never took offense to it. I'm just like, at the end of the day, if you got to do it 50 times, like at the end of the day, you have to walk away with a great story. If you're working with me,
mhm,
like you have to, there's just no ands, ifs, and buts about it. Like I don't try to leave it up for chance. Like it has to be, if you hired me, I have to perform at the level that makes you happy. Now, some things are going to be beyond my control. I can't control it. But if it's within my control, like I want your experience to be like, I had a great experience with her, even though she couldn't do this, but it wasn't on her. But if it was within my power and I got the strength, why would I not make that to be a great experience for
sure,
you? That's
sure,
just how I look at business. So.
yeah,
But you're always so nice about, like, how you're very direct about what you want, and you're very clear about what you want, but you do it in a nice way of how you want it. But, I always say all the time, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. But
mhm,
sometimes you have buttholes that you work with, and you can't change that, right?
yeah,
So it's just like, because sometimes their attitudes ain't got nothing to do with you. Sometimes they deal with other personal stuff, and you can't take it personal. But I always love the fact that you're always direct. Tell me what you want. Like, you know, you're like, "Hey, Linnell, I don't
yeah,
like such and such or whatever." And, hey, well, let's just fix it.
yeah, yeah, and I think that it's like, I think in business, like, I think there's like, if I'm the client and or vice versa, like, if the client is not happy, I just always believe that if I can fix it, I'm
Mhm.
gonna fix it. If the client is upset, I'm not gonna do my best not to take that personal.
Yeah.
I try to just kind of figure out what we need to do. I think today in our society, like I see a lot of times that if a person's not happy with something and they're upset about it, which they have every right to be, if the product is not what they wanted. Um, I think they have the right to be that way. I think sometimes, like, if you are direct, which again, like, you have to manage that because people take directness as rude,
Yeah.
disrespectful, all these things. And so s- there there's I got tons of examples where, like, I'm trying to just explain it to him, and then I'm like, all right, look, this is what I need. Can you
Mhm.
do it or not?
Mhm.
Because we're
Yeah.
going around in circles, da 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 da. Da. So
Wasting my
now,
money time.
well, not even that, but if you do take that approach, then now you're rude. They get offended, da 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 da,
Yeah.
which is fine. But I think at the end of the day, like, it should in business, like, I appreciate doing business with you because again, like, you're like, what do we need to do to get this done? And if you can't do it, you're like, look, I can't do it, but this is what I think we should do. Like, those things are very, it's easy to work with you. It's easy to do business with you. And I know that I'm gonna get really good service and a good product like with you. And you're gonna be very professional. Um, one of the things that I don't know if I even told you this, you and I talked about this, but I was concerned about, we lived in a predominantly white neighborhood, one of the oldest neighborhoods in that area in
Yeah.
Houston, in Champions. And one of the few black uh, homeowners in the area, and our first agent, like we bought from the agent that I used to buy the house was not I used you to sell it. Didn't have a good experience there, and so my concern was, for one, us being black um, in that neighborhood and trying to sell a house because, again, historically they devalue our homes. Like anytime they know there's black people, they devalue it right away. And then also them walking in seeing a black agent,
Mhm.
I would think they would assume that the client is black or the
Yeah.
homeowner is black. None of those things impacted the
Mhm.
sale of the house. And again, like they loved Linnell. We got so many phone calls, and our neighbors came over just ranting and raving about you. And yo, she's got to be really good. Like, who is she? And I mean, we got endless amount of, and even when we sold it, the house went on the market. We had offers with it on day six.
Mhm.
What about
Multiple offers
multiple
too.
offers on day six? Some of them were over asking price. Uh,
And you sold for over asking price.
yeah, sold for over asking price, and Linnell is just phenomenal. Like, did a really good job. And again, I was concerned about race and racism and the times we live in, and Linnell was like, "Nope, don't worry about it." Like, some of my best clients are not black, and my referral business is not all black business, and so I trust Linnell. Like, she's a person that has done this a long time. She's really good at it. She's experienced in real estate, and she does a really good job of making you feel comfortable because she does her research and she understands the market frontwards, backwards. She's an expert in the field, and so I'm grateful that worked. And then God is his God's timing, and
Mhm.
it wasn't a coincidence that you had just launched your business on your own. It wasn't a coincidence that um, we needed to sell the house.
Absolutely.
We
It
did.
just aligned, like, so perfectly. 'Cause I was telling you, I was like, "Well, when the paperwork come in, it might still have my old brokerage on there, but I think I wanna put my new brokerage on there because I had just made the switch and you had called." And I was so funny because I wasn't sure if you were gonna bring that up about being in a predominantly, Caucasian neighborhood,
Yep.
but, we did talk about that because that's something that's very true that you don't think about as being, like, in those higher end subdivisions, like, and then I kinda was doubting myself, like, a little bit, but I was like, "I know I'm, like, super great." And so for a minute there, I was just like I had to go back and look at all my reviews because I have quite a bit of reviews, that's been vetted out by the Houston Association of HAR, not by friends, but just by the association. When you go on my webpage, you can see all the things that's truthful that people said about me. And I had to look at, like, I was like, half of my business have been Caucasian people, like,
Yep.
for I've been doing real estate for 16 years, so half of my people have been Caucasians, and I was just like, but, I am at a very high price point. I was just like, well, would they feel some kind of way? Just you gotta have, like, these little small thoughts in your brain or your mind, because you also wanna, like, serve your clients at the best way or whatever. And I was like, "Girl, you gotta get that out of your mind, because at the end of the day, people are gonna work with you. People buy houses because you're priced right and they want the house. Like, stop tripping. Like, get yourself together."
Yep.
And so just like, but still bring your game. Don't get it twisted
Yep.
now. You make sure you bring your A game with it or whatever. So, but I tell you, our open house was amazing. I made sure I put the signs out like crazy early to get that traffic
Yep.
in, but we had over 60 people come in. We did two open houses on Saturday and Sunday. And let me tell you, that open house was amazing. But one thing I am great, I would say, I love people. So I don't care what your color is.
Yep.
So, I don't typically see your color, even though I know you see my color, but I don't see your color. So I try to treat everybody as one. So when people coming through the open house, majority Caucasian, like, at the end of the day, you're still a person. So I
Mhm.
still wanted them to feel like super amazing. But it was great having that feedback because a lot of them, we had all kind of wine charcuterie boards, all of the snacks, and scan this video, scan another video. So it was not set up to where I was lazy. I
Right.
really
Right.
put work into my open houses and stuff. So when people came, they just felt like it would feel like it was a party,
Yep.
people were like, I was like, "Do you want a drink while you get to walk the house?" And everybody just had a great time, and so many people did say, "I have never seen an open house done like this
Yep.
before." And so I was just glad that we did have the great turnout, but it took work. I didn't try to, skimp on it because I knew you, because I always say all the time, a lot of times we feel like because we know the person, we
Yep.
should give less value, less work. Oh,
Yep.
I know him. I don't have to show up. And that's the biggest mistake that we make in business. Like, oh, because I know you, I don't have to bring my best self. No, that's when you need to bring your best self. Nope, still come in with all those comps, all those numbers. And like, if I say I'm going to call you, my thing is every Monday, you're going to get an update. And if I feel like you need another update twice a week, then you're going to get that. But do what you say you're going to do, try to beat the client before they beat you in calling you. That's always try to be my goal. Like, I'm going to hit you up before you hit me, because if you hit me up, that means I'm late. So, but I'm glad that everything turned out the way that it was supposed to.
Yeah. And I was thinking about when you were saying that too. It's like you know how to meet the demand. Like you made that an elevated open house. Like it was a very high end elevated open house that matched the style, the house, the you gave people a really good experience, which when you give people an experience, they never forget it. Whether it's good, bad, indifferent, people don't forget their experiences, especially the bad ones.
Hmm.
But if they have a really good experience, that's rare in today's society, where I think you do a great job at that. And so I appreciate you. Like 6 days and
Yeah.
your first sale and 6 days and
I mean, but y'all made it very amazing too. I mean, like, you had an amazing, amazing house.
yeah,
Like, you did the work.
yeah,
The house showcased so beautifully. So it just made my job a little bit more easier. So we just highlighted all the great things that you did. And so at the end of the day, it's just like, well, I want people who walk through that door to know all the things. They don't know this house,
yeah,
but I'm gonna give y'all an experience, because I know none of these houses over here look like this one.
right.
So, and it was just walking people through all the work that you've done. It's just like, and that's one of the things, sometimes you don't always get a second chance to make the first impression. That's one of the ones is like, when we talked, I was like, yeah, we got to hit this hard. Like
Yep,
we got to do all the things. And
yep,
so, and you did all the things, and it was like, you was on top of that stuff. Like I was like, you was like, the paint is already here. I was like, the paint is already here. You was just on top of all your vendors. It
yep,
was like, yep, we already got that done, Linnell. Yep, you already got that done. You had vendors at the house while we were showing, and people were loving that.
yeah,
So you think a lot of times you be like, oh, I got to get all this stuff like done. Sometimes it's like you see one little thing that you need, you was on top of it, and people were like, I love the fact that your seller
yeah,
was so proactive and getting this done, and I'm just gonna let my buyers know. So those
yeah,
things matters.
yeah.
So I think we work together well
Hmm.
as a team, because I always say all the time, like, you need to be in partnership with your
I
clients.
agree.
Like, if you work together as a team and they feel like you are part of a team, and it's not just like, because your listing is like my listing.
Sure.
It's like, that's my house.
Yep,
And you want to showcase, like, you should always showcase every listing like it's your very own house.
yep,
And so, to where people don't ever have to wonder, like, I have to be your mouthpiece. You're not there. You're not there to show it. So I have to embody your thoughts, like what you're thinking. Like, I gotta sell this house like if you were standing in the house in the front of the client. Now I have to embody your whole spirit
yep,
and your energy to get your house sold. And
yep,
don't leave anything on because that little one thing that you think that people, it's not important to people, that's the one thing that they will buy that house. Be like, what? Like, oh, this is a hidden cabinet here? Oh, you have a whole floor of putting golf. You're gonna get all the things you come through this open house. So those were the things that were important to y'all. And I wanted to make sure that it was important when I showed it to
yep.
people.
No, you did an amazing job. So I'm grateful. Where can they find you?
I'm everywhere on social media. So again, my name is Lanell Johnson. I have a tagline that say an agent that will fight for you. And look me up on Facebook. I'm on TikTok. I'm on um, Instagram. I'm on all the things. So you just type in my name, Lanell M. Johnson, Realtor. You will see me.
Love it. You guys got that? Make sure. Are you just specific to Houston, or can you sell anywhere in Texas?
I can sell anywhere in the state of Texas. However, you should be the market expert in your area. So
Sure.
I'm not the market expert in Dallas. However, I've linked my wagon with tons of agents all around America. So even if you need even if you're out of state, it don't have to be Texas. It could be like Chicago, different places all over the world. So I know agents. So just call me. I'll link you up to a really good agent. I vet them out. Like I call them and make sure. And some of them I know because of just all the networking that I do when I go to different events. So a lot of agents I have in my phone from different states and Las Vegas and all that. But if I don't, like I like to call them out. How long you been in business? I know all the questions to ask rather than you go and try to find them out on your own. So
Sure.
just call me.
Yeah, she's amazing. Like she'll do all the research for you. She's well connected. You guys have heard some of the stories. Sold my house in 6 days, which was amazing. I'm grateful to have you. I'm glad you're one of my first guests on the podcast.
And you were my first too.
Yep. I could say so.
First in business. Let's clarify that. The wondering minds. Let's clear the wondering minds.
So, before we get out of here, like, what are just some of the, like, what would you say to a person that is, like, what would be like your one piece of advice to give someone, um, in marriage? Like, say they're new in marriage or they're struggling in marriage. Like, what would be your one piece of advice? And then another question is, from a real estate agent standpoint, if it's somebody that's considering going into real estate or that's currently in it, like what would be just a really good piece of advice you would give them, like on their journey in both spaces? I know those are two different questions, but I
Yeah.
think it's
But those
important.
are my two passions.
Yep.
Marriage and real estate are
Yep.
my number two purposes actually
Yep.
in life. So I would say definitely in marriage, it will be great if you can take the time to heal yourself. Like, find out what it is that you need to heal from, if it's trauma or whatever the case may be. Like, do the work on yourself first and present yourself in the best way possible in a relationship. But if you are already in a relationship and in a marriage, get help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Like find um, counseling that works for you both and stick with it and do the work. I think those are the things that I find most helpful for me out of 34 years in a relationship. And then when it comes to business, I think the most helpful thing for me was I didn't look to try to get with a brokerage to where it's like, oh, I can keep all my money. I gave 50% of my money for the training.
Yep.
So I got trained really well. I got trained for like a good 6 years. And I sat up under a great mentor that taught me all things real estate, like contracts, like how to break down contracts. You got a lot of agents that don't understand contracts.
Sure.
And that's the simple principle you should. But we're skipping all that because we want to keep all our money.
Mhm.
So get with a good brokerage that is going to teach you, literally teach you. Don't worry about the money up front. The money will come, but get the learning and then worry about the money because the money will come later.
I love that. So do the work and be a constant learner.
Yeah.
Like I would say those two things, that's life in general.
Hmm.
Like that's I love that because I think that doing the work and never stop learning is why we're here. Like we have to figure out. Linnell, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Like you're a joy. It's just really good to be in your presence. Like if you guys, I'm sure you guys see her energy through the screen. You can feel it. But she's a light, and I'm grateful to know you. I'm grateful to have you. Thank you for coming to the kitchen couch. Again, to anybody that is new, thank you for showing up today. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. Invite a friend next time. And also, you can follow us on all social media platforms. That also includes YouTube and Spotify. If you are in Houston, again, make sure you guys are not losing sight of what's going on in our country and with our government. We're in a government shutdown at this time, and SNAP benefits have been cut. Even when they bring those back, SNAP is not something that is sustainable for a lot of families. Like SNAP is a very minimal part of their food ability to get food. It's minimal. Most families run out of SNAP before the end of the month anyway. Like it's a very minimal thing, and so community is important. Co-op, making sure you guys are reaching out to your neighbors, helping your neighbors, being neighborly. Those are things that we have to continue to do and get back to. We have to save ourselves. We can't wait on the government. And so make sure you guys are doing that. The Houston Food Bank, the Bread of Life, Baker Ripley, just to name a few of those, they are places where you can go if you don't have food. And again, thank you guys for tuning in to the Kitchen Couch, where we're feeding the soul one conversation at a time. We will see you soon. Till next episode. Thank you.